The session is themed Wi-Fi Technology, Standards and Security. So ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the second panel discussion of the day, centered on the critical theme of Wi-Fi technology, standards and security. In an age of hyperconnectivity, the reliability, security and scalability of Wi-Fi networks are fundamental to ensuring digital inclusivity and national growth. This session will explore current technologies, evolving standards, and pressing cybersecurity challenges that come with expanding wireless access across India and beyond. I would like to invite our distinguished session chair, Dr. S.N. Gupta, Chairman, DIGI GAON Foundation. Let's put our hands together to welcome Sir onto the panel. I invite our eminent panelists, Mr. Seemab Kadri, Board Advisor, Wireless Broadband Alliance. Warm welcome to you, sir. I invite Mr. Sandeep Aggarwal, Team Leader, Wi-Fi Solutions, C. And Mr. Alok Gupta, Founder and CEO, Pyramid Forensics and Cybersecurity. Once again inviting Mr. Seemab Kadri, Mr. Sandeep Aggarwal and Mr. Alok Gupta to kindly join us on the panel. Ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished session chair, Dr. S.N. Gupta is Chairman of DIGI GAON Foundation, is a telecom veteran and policy influencer dedicated to bridging the digital divide in India's rural heartland. His work has contributed significantly to expanding grassroots Wi-Fi and public access initiatives. And I hand over the session to our esteemed chair to lead the discussions. Over to you, sir. Okay, we have two panelists joining us online. Mr. Sandeep Aggarwal and Mr. Kadri have joined us online, sir. Over to you, sir.
Oh, thank you, Sapna. Good afternoon, everyone. It's indeed a great pleasure and honor for me to be participating in this session on a great day, the World Wi-Fi Day, which is very close to my heart. I'm really thankful to the BIF, actually, executive, especially TV Saab, Tandon Saab, and also Devu to give me this opportunity. I'm sorry I could not be there in the morning, but yes, I got a good glimpse of what has happened since morning. And my learning is everything has happened since morning. Whatever was to be said has already been said. So that is good for me also actually, so that I can innovate something. I can extract something more from the experts actually. The great thing about this panel is I myself will be learning from the experts. Mr. Alok Gupta, who is already there physically, founder and CEO, Pyramid Forensic and Cybersecurity, and Mr. Seemab Kadri, Board Advisor of WBA, like we have our friend, this Pramjit. So this is a different association called Wireless Broadband Alliance. And last but not the least, Mr. Sandeep Aggarwal. You may be knowing him. He's the team leader of Wi-Fi Solutions in C. actually. And if you have to name one or two related to Wi-Fi and PM Money in India, so I will always like to call Mr. Sandeep Aggarwal. I call him the architect of PM Vani. And that is what you will learn from him. To start with, though you have heard in the morning also, Wi-Fi security is crucial for protecting data transmitted over wireless networks. And you have these standards. We started with 802.11, then A, B, C, D. Like now they have exhausted all those alphabets. Now they've started calling it 11X. And X, you know what is the meaning of X. X means everything. Everything, 26 alphabets and beyond. That is the meaning of X. So you see how much standardization is happening by IEEE on the Wi-Fi side actually. And my actually privilege is increased by seeing our chairperson, Madam Arna Sundarajan actually. So I have learnt a lot from her in last 25 years when the Wi-Fi delicensing started actually. Since then she has been helping us from other side of the table, of course, the delicensing, and latest also is there now. And thank you, madam, that you are also in the audience today. And what we will be discussing is mainly the standard and security issues. And I will like to put security before the standard. The security issues, actually, one misgiving about Wi-Fi is actually that it is unsecured. But actually it is other way around. We will be discussing these WEP, WPA, WPA2, WPA3, and all kind of standard protocol for security. Actually, one thing we all know actually from being from the industry, actually when you talk about anything open or anything IP, internet protocol, so you can never be sure of security. That is the price we pay for openness of a network or packetized network. The same is true for anything you do in wireless without a cable. You can never be 100% sure of security. And that is why these standards are required, something more work is required. So when we went from wired communication to wireless, so that time also there were a lot of issues on quality of service, on security, and they came out with a protocol called WEP, which will be discussed today also. WEP is wired equivalent protection. Wired equivalent protection, because before wireless came, everything was wired. And wired was highly secured, because you cannot intrude, you cannot tap it. It was highly secured. So when wireless guys came here, so they were also having the same kind of impression to the customer that wireless is unsafe. Like what they talk about Wi-Fi today, about 25 years back, same thing was talked about the wireless. And that is why this standard came, WEP, that at least you give me same security what the earlier version or earliest medium was doing. But even that also have vulnerability. Even WEP, which is the main standard for wireless security, even that has vulnerability. So what the Wi-Fi guys have done, they brought standard which is more than WEP, which is not publicly known, which can be known through such kind of sessions, and we'll know what is that WPA from WEP. WPA is Wi-Fi protected access. So here your access is protected by the technology itself, which you are blaming. You are blaming Wi-Fi for the security, that it has less secured. Actually, WPA makes use of the strength of that technology, Wi-Fi, and give you protected access, which is more than WEP. More than WEP. So now you can think that how secured is Wi-Fi vis-a-vis other technology of wireless. And they have not stopped there. WPA, then WPA2 came, WPA3 came. I leave all those things to the experts actually before we go further. Actually now, because let me start with our friend Alok ji. So Alok ji, I have given the background to this, and you will have to give your comments on that also, whether what I have talked is true or not, first. And second thing is, you have to explain to us what is the role of 802.1x, I was talking about 1x, authentication in securing wireless networks, and how does it works? What are some common threats to Wi-Fi security? Because I believe Wi-Fi is more secure than your 5G. But what are the common threats, like people say about evil twin attacks, man-in-the-middle attacks? Man-in-the-middle attacks, as you know, is not only unique to Wi-Fi. It is there for everybody who use a open network or a packetized network. Man in the middle is always there. So you cannot blame Wi-Fi for that, of course. So you have to say, and if it is there, how it can be mitigated, because I know in Wi-Fi we have mitigated. I myself have done a project and a prototype where we have mitigated not only man in the middle, but also DDoS. Distributed denial of service, actually. And that is where I've used another technology that you know, blockchain. How can business ensure that their Wi-Fi networks are secure, especially in public spaces like hospital, railways, airports? So that is what, Alokji, you have to explain. I think I myself don't know the time, but minimum 5 minutes you should take.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Gupta. So he's not just...
Yeah, our timekeeper is sitting there in the corner.
Yeah, so I thought, the timekeeper is over there, but, you set the tone. So thank you, BIF, leadership, for inviting me over to this wonderful event today on a Wi-Fi day, World Wi-Fi Day. And you set the tone, Dr. Gupta, in terms of telling that, how security is so important, in a wireless network. Of course, we used to worry about, the security in the wired network, but I think security is security. It would apply to both wired and wireless networks. So let me first, start with the 802.1x standard, which IEEE has come up with. So that's primarily a protocol, that controls the network access by any device by verifying the identity of the device. So, it's important to have an identity definition from a device which is connecting to the network. So this is typically a three-way system where there is a supplicant, where there is an authenticator, and then there is an authentication server. So what happens in this is that the supplicant, which is the end client, could be a laptop, computer, or any device which is trying to connect to the network, sends a request to the authentication server, which is typically a server like a Radius, kind of a thing, where, the authentication details which come from the device gets authenticated by the authentication server, and then it allows the device to connect to the authenticator, which is called the network. So this three-way system, allows a very robust authentication mechanism. Now, what happens, what are the real benefits of 802.1x authentication is that A, we can control the entire, authentication services through a centralized authentication server, which means that we can also define what kind of user privileges are there, what kind of, roles which a device is wanting to connect to has to apply there. Now, there are different levels of, security levels we can define when we are implementing 802.1x, because the authentication server is a centralized thing which allows both the devices to connect. Now, let me come to the second part of your question, which is the evil twin attack and the MITM, or what we call it as a man-in-the-middle attack. So, evil twin is typically, a malicious actor creating a rogue Wi-Fi access point, which looks similar to a legitimate Wi-Fi access device. So that is basically to trick the users to sign in into an AP or an access point, which is actually not legitimate. So evil twin attack means that you are creating a clone or some kind of a twin, which actually will steal your credentials or try and mislead you by not only stealing your data, but also harvesting a lot of such information over there. The difference between evil twin attack and the MITM, which is the man-in-the-middle attack, is that, there is, what they do is between the user device and the network which you are trying to connect, they insert themselves in between and then try to, create a phony channel so that, anything which comes in as a traffic from the device gets either altered, and then, or modified and then sent to the network. So this is one thing which they can do, and the second thing which the hackers would do or the malicious actors would do is to also steal your credentials. So both these things are very, very pertinent in terms of authentication as well as security. I'll come to the last point later once the other panelists have done. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Alok. You have really educated us in these new kind of evils, actually evil twin. And now let me go to Mr. Seemab Kadri. So, Mr. Seemab, we have few questions for you, but you can answer whatever you want out of these. So first thing, our learned audience will like to know what are the major improvements between Wi-Fi 6, 6E and Wi-Fi 7. Actually more Wi-Fi 7, though they have asked Wi-Fi 8 also, but if you can concentrate on 6E and 7, because that is what will be coming now after government have taken the bold decision of unlicensing a part of 6 gigahertz spectrum, which is required badly by 6E as well as 7. And other thing which we like to understand from you is how AFC works and what are the advantages. Let me tell you, the audience, AFC is automatic frequency coordination. So it's not automatic frequency control, what I used to think. So morning only I searched for this definition. So coordination, and you know, our Madam Repti is already there, and they are the coordination guys. So AFC means their role can go away. Now they are coordinating. But if you use AFC, automatic frequency coordination, then the role of spectrum management goes away actually. The technology itself will coordinate. So it is something great actually. We will like to know from the horse's mouth, Mr. Seemab Kadri from Wireless Broadband Alliance. And other thing is, of course, you may not like to answer that if time is not there, how AI and Wi-Fi work together. According to me, this is no rocket science. Nothing can work without AI. Nothing can work means, so that question is answered by me. You first answer those two questions first, Mr. Seemab.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta. It's my pleasure. First of all, I just wanted to say hello to everyone and greetings on the 9th anniversary celebration of this World Wi-Fi Day. And such a pleasure to see everybody in this crowd. And I was able to join just a little bit before, and very good conversations. I'm really honored to be here. And I wish I was there in person to enjoy everybody's company. But this is kind of the best that we can do. So great set of questions. Let me try to unpack it. For the very first set of questions that you asked to talk about the 3 generations of Wi-Fi technology, before we dive into kind of specifics, maybe we can talk just a little bit about the recent Wi-Fi evolution to understand what is going on, right? So every time a generation of Wi-Fi technology is created, it is based on a certain theme. So when Wi-Fi 6 was being defined, this was pre-2019, 2019 is when it was released, the focus was to get transmission efficiencies and increase in throughput. That was kind of the highest order bit. So Wi-Fi 6, as it is called, as you said, it's 11AX high efficiency. That was standardized. Now, soon after that, there was a push for getting more spectrum, very necessary growth in capacity that is needed for Wi-Fi around the world, and that started to happen. So 6E came out really quickly after that, taking the Wi-Fi 6 technology into the 6 gigahertz spectrum space and increase the bandwidth and increase the capacity. And then from there, the huge jump that happened was with Wi-Fi 7, which has come out almost like 2024, late 2023, 24. And that was to completely exploit this new spectrum and bring about a bunch of capabilities that can help the network evolve. So, we're looking at kind of this evolution picture when we're looking forward, just a little bit to touch upon the thoughts that come for Wi-Fi 8. We know that Wi-Fi has become kind of a basic public utility. We know that it's a key driver for digital equality. So the expectation of Wi-Fi to deliver seamless and secure connectivity, fast and reliable manner, that is forming a theme of Wi-Fi 8. It's called as the ultra high reliability. And of course, this is all 2028 stuff. So a lot of ambitious features are in that bucket. Okay, but having said this, let's dive a little bit, kind of deeper from a technology jargon basis on what was 6 and how the improvement from 6.6e to 7 have happened, and we'll be staying a lot more on the Wi-Fi 7 side, right? And please feel free to, if you have a question, to interrupt and call. I mean, I'm on the remote, so I can't see what's the dynamics of people over there, but feel free. When the Wi-Fi 6 came in, it actually brought about a very kind of beautiful change to Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi was a collision avoidance technology before that, and what Wi-Fi 6 did was it brought in the orchestrated flow. It introduced OFDMA. It introduced a triggered access, so you can actually coordinate a Wi-Fi connection amongst all the other devices, and this is towards growing capacity and to address interference. There was this question on the audience about addressing interference. So this is what allows it to do that. You have a very dense set of connections. A lot of people trying to connect at the same time, and these are the technologies that allow that to happen. And then the 6E came in, as I was saying, that, hey, 6 gigahertz band, Wi-Fi is the point where the densification is supported. We talk a lot about 5G and Wi-Fi as being complementary. In that theme, the key responsibility that Wi-Fi shoulders is, within this indoor, within a high dense environment, how do you provide the right capacity to connect a lot of devices? And that's where, the 6E came in with the 1200 megahertz, 6 gigahertz band support, okay, and making the larger channel, the 160 megahertz channel, also a possibility. But then from there, Wi-Fi 7 really picked up the temperature, right? So this was a huge increase in throughput and latency reduction that happened with Wi-Fi 7. So, some of the key technologies that came as part of the Wi-Fi 7 bundle, you have the higher order 4K COM, as they call it, encoding, which is packing more bits per hertz. You have the even bigger channel, the 320 megahertz channels. So you have a dramatic increase in throughput and latency. And this is what kind of drives the next generation applications, AR, VR, and high definition video and things like that. But also, as you're talking about the larger channels, and to make that reality, some key features like channel puncturing. What is that? Hey, if you have an incumbent in between a large channel, then there's a method for you to accommodate for that and still deliver the wide channel. It pushed towards deterministic connectivity through what is called as multi-RU allocation. So another method to make sure that every client is served per its own needs. It allowed clients to do multi-link operations, which is that one client can connect to the network in multiple links on multiple bands, so that it can have maybe higher throughput, it can have resilience, and can deliver a solid experience to the user based on what the user is doing. So this is kind of the bundle of Wi-Fi 7. But not only that, let me also say that as these technologies come from the standards, they also bring about some of the key adjacent technologies up to the mark. And Wi-Fi 7 set the bar for WPA3 as being the baseline requirement for security. So, the question that is being asked over there about security is so important because, security is like a lock. If you put a cheap lock, then you will have bad security, and you have to have the right level of lock. And that lock in the world of wireless consists of authentication and encryption. And as Alokji was explaining, this is the WPA3 is kind of the best of what can be offered. So this is what has come with Wi-Fi 7. It comes with the requirement for WPA3 security, so that this question about, hey, is Wi-Fi insecure? Well, if you were to deploy Wi-Fi 7, then you have to deploy WPA3, and there you go, you're more secure. So that's in a good sense what Wi-Fi 7 is about. Really briefly then touching on Wi-Fi 8. So as I said, a lot of ambitious thoughts are going in. This is very typical of any Wi-Fi standard as it starts getting defined for a lot of things to be kind of put on the kitchen sink. Very interesting things, and then the right things to kind of gel out. But at the moment, what the teams are thinking is the multi-AP coordination as one of the key items. So you talk about a deployment and how all the APs around, how they do not interfere with each other. In fact, they allow for a faster roaming between them, allow for a longer range of connection. There's a bunch of sub features that go in Wi-Fi 8 definition that make this possible. Coordinated beam forming, coordinated spatial reuse, coordinated RTWT. So there's a slew of things that are being kind of put in the bucket of Wi-Fi 8. And if it all comes out, then that's going to be great. But not just that, it is also considering green features like smart power management, right? Like also using AI for spectrum handling. So, trying to reduce its footprint and consumption of energy and spectrum to what is rightly needed. Interestingly, again, from a security standpoint, as we know that we are entering into the quantum era, so even like WPA3 security kind of starts falling a little bit short when you have quantum computers coming in and what you can crack with their help. So there is a adjacent protocol effort for 11BT that's for the post-quantum crypto. So the point is that from a technology perspective, the standards teams in the industry thinks about what is needed. The real challenge, the world of Wi-Fi from our perspective, I'm kind of talking about through mine and even like extending to WPA, is in the network deployments. With all the right technologies out there, the network deployment don't necessarily pick up the right things, and they don't apply it. And so we always use opportunities like this to kind of make a call that, especially those that are in the access network deployment, to reach out to organizations like WPA, like BIF, and work with us to define how the topology should be, what tools should be used. There is, we will offer help gladly to do that. Okay. So that's in the realm of Wi-Fi. I'll take a quick pause before I move to the AFC question, just to check with you, Dr. Gupta, whether there are any questions around the Wi-Fi generations.
No, that is good. You have covered almost everything, but if you can touch upon AFC more,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, this is what I'm going to touch upon next.
Yes.
And then after that, I'll touch upon the AI question that you have. Okay. So AFC is very much relevant to 6 gigahertz high power, right? So the way 6 gigahertz band is defined correctly is that when you are doing low power at indoors, then you don't have much of an interference with the incumbents that may be therein. In 6 gigahertz bands already, that has been delicensed. So indoors is fine. But when you want to go outdoors and you want to use higher power, then you may conflict with incumbents. And AFC, that is the automated frequency coordination, is a collaborative mechanism towards the spectrum sharing and towards the interference mitigation. So the way it works is that there is a database of these licensed users, be that like, let's say, fixed broadband providers or satellite providers that are using those frequencies. And when a 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi network wants to use higher power, it must contact this AFC service at that moment, check if it can use that spectrum or what subspectrums it needs to avoid, and then accordingly act. So this is implemented in many different ways. Like today, countries like US and all, we have the solution over here provided by a bunch of providers. Like there are some non-profit providers. WBA has a solution, WFA has a solution, but there are also commercial providers like Broadcom and CommScope and Qualcomm and more providers that have this. Some of the solutions are based on the open source tip open AFC implementation. So like all of the foundations of the AFC are available. And when we think about what is going on in India and the great move to see 6 gigahertz being made available, hopefully the entirety of the 6 gigahertz will be available soon, and that will be excellent. But for the high power to be supported, AFC is the way to go. There is already kind of a blueprint of how to implement AFC. India would definitely need to get some policy alignments between standard bodies to have its own AFC framework and to create a trusted AFC operator set and then use it. So this is absolutely what is needed for 6 gigahertz when you think of it in outdoor situation. And I think this is something that perhaps I would say, BIF, I'm sure like experts over there are very well aware of, and they can, WBA will be more than happy to work with it on the implementation that is there in WBA to be kind of shared with BIF so that, India can get a jump start, let's say.
Thank you, Mr. Seemab. You have really clarified and got a new points to us, and especially in the presence of government. Madam Revati is there. AFC can solve the problem of interference for outdoor Wi-Fi, like government in their own wisdom and, sorry, Madam Revati, have artificially put that restriction of these low power, actually 14 dB, madam, 14 dB for outdoor. And now he is telling us there is a solution to that, what you were afraid of maybe while putting that. So I think this is a great learning, Mr. Seemab, about these AFC usage. So AFC can be used by government also to see there is no interference or how the interference can be mitigated. So thanks a lot. This was new learning for me also, and now we as BIF will make use of that technology or that kind of techniques which can actually mitigate the interference of the outdoor Wi-Fi. So now let me go to our other expert, Mr. Sandeep Aggarwal. Oh, no, this was Seemab. So Sandeep ji, actually we thought you will be here physically actually because you are in India only. So we thought you should have been here. But anyway, we are thankful to you for being there online. So question for you are very simple, of course. I know you are doing that, so you will answer that. But the audience want to know, what are the user onboarding mechanisms in public Wi-Fi settings? What standards are to be considered? How does MAC address filtering enhance Wi-Fi security? What are its limitations? And what are the effect of MAC randomization on the user onboarding of the network? And then if time will permit, you will have to explain about offloading also actually. How Wi-Fi supports offloading and what are the challenges, why it is not happening in India.
So thank you, sir, and hello to Seemab. We are meeting online. So yeah. So to answer the first question regarding the mechanism to onboard the public Wi-Fi network. So from the standard perspective, pre-2012, we had two mechanisms to onboard the public Wi-Fi network. One is predominantly username password, which was supported by EAP-based authentication in the backend. And then what was lacking there is the user engagement, right? So whenever end user is connecting to the public network, there was no mechanism to engage with the user. So then the captive portal based onboarding is what was supported, and we still see, captive portal-based onboarding prevalent in, multiple part of the developed economy, as well as in India and other places it is pervasive. Uh, Between 2012 and 2020, the other, mechanism which, are standardized were to support the telco. As you discuss about offload, I will come back on that in some time. But, EAP, SIM-based authentication, and then subsequently ACA Prime, where, supported for the telcos to be able to connect to the Wi-Fi, and that has been, used for public, Wi-Fi calling type of services, which is being deployed by many of the operator, because that really made a business sense for the operators. And then we also, had, pass point based of technology, which we also called Hotspot 2.0, which is first, standardized in IEEE.11 group, called 11U, which actually enabled the mechanism for automated connectivity to the Wi-Fi network. And over that, Wi-Fi Alliance has built Passpoint, and they, released release 1, release 2, release 3. Release 1 was more pervasive because it was, used, but overall Passpoint adoption was low because of the challenge of, providing the end user credentials. So in release 2, they have introduced something called OSU, online sign up unit, through which, end user can generate the profile and then connect automatically, but that was a bit cumbersome. And then they brought in release 3, where they thought that still with the automated, connectivity to the network, for the entity, the user engagement is important, because that make business case. And there are certain, um, compulsion to, many of the places you have to agree to terms and condition of that particular location while onboarding. So, the Passpoint really, evolved towards release 3, where now they have automated access plus, user engagement. And after 2020, we have seen, open roaming being built over Passpoint to, remove some of the challenges which were still there with Passpoint, such as scalability, as and when, operators create the agreement, there was a requirement to bring the configuration changes on the access network itself. So for there, to resolve those issues and make, a business case around, public access, the open roaming is built over, Passpoint. So these are the predominant mechanism from the standard perspective where user onboard. But at the same time, there are two very important, initiative around the world along with open roaming is, as we know, PM1 in India. So PM1 actually, looked at the legacy issues, what is, prevalent, the legacy systems which are being deployed, and, built a framework based on the WANI token to, allow end user to connect to the network. I will not say completely automatic, but, it is, you really don't have to do certain step all the time to connect to the network. And there was another initiative which is already prevalent in the academic institute called EduRoam. They relied on, 802.1 EAP-based authentication, and now they're migrating to open roaming. So these are the, predominant onboarding mechanism. One more thing, what we have to understand is on the captive portal, the authentications which are being actually, deployed are PAP and CHAP. When you say, PAP, it is basically, it will provide you username, basically password-based authentication. Password authentication protocol is PAP. And later, a better authentication protocol called CHAP, that is Challenge Response Identity Authentication Protocol, has been brought in. So what is our experience is many of the network deployment based on captive portal while doing the user authentication is not based on HTTP. They are still, not based on HTTPS. They continue, deploy on HTTP, which, which there is a possibility of certain security mishap on HTTP. So we took that in mind, and while revising PM1E to 2.0, we mandated that all these access has to be based on HTTPS. So that is how, frugally we have, brought the security what is needed in, captive portal. And from the standard perspective, now IT is already working on standardizing the captive portal, because captive portal is still not a standard way of access. There are implementation variants, but still captive portal works. So now, there is a cap port protocol which is being, defined, which makes the captive portal access a standard way and user engagement in a more, API-based environment. So that is with respect to, onboarding procedures. Uh, if we see at MAC filtering, right? So MAC filtering is a very old approach of, access mechanism on the Wi-Fi network. That means whenever end user device connect to the network actually casts the MAC ID of that particular end user device. And whenever that user comes again to the network, they automatically allow that particular, user to connect. But this also at the same time, gives privacy issues, because we have seen by harvesting the MAC ID, there is a possibility of creating a user profile, understand where they connect, when they connect, or what are their priorities and all. So looking at this privacy issue, and privacy is a very important topic now, we have seen, MAC randomization has been introduced, where every time when the end user device connects with a network, and there are certain conditions following that, end user device actually gives a different MAC ID to the network, so that this particular profiling is not possible. So basically MAC randomization actually really created a disruption in the network, where most of the providers were depending on the MAC address. So we cannot depend on a MAC address going forward while we want to onboard a public Wi-Fi. Looking at this particular, challenge, while revising PM1E 2.0, we, remove the dependency of MAC address onboarding process, which has been, discussed in version 1 when MAC randomization was not prevalent. That is around 2016-17, right? So MAC ID from the user end perspective now should not be used, because you have to do lots of back-end, processing to really able to provide a consistent service. But for the access control, still the access point type of devices doesn't have MAC ID implemented. So they still rely on unique MAC ID for the device, which doesn't change when it connects to the network. So there still we can, continue using MAC address based access control. Now coming back to the offload, and now offload has become an important topic after recent large scale, offload deployment by one of the OEM in India. And so far, telcos has not really deployed an offload solution. What they have deployed so far is Wi-Fi calling, right? So offload, there are already existing standards like GSMA defined IR61, where they talked about how to interconnect between cellular network and the ISP network over Wi-Fi. So that particular standard is already available, which provides, if you want to do a captive portal integration, how that can be done. And at the same time, if you want to do an EAP, AKA SIM or AKA Prime based authentication, you can do. Apart from that, 5G or 4G already have well-defined nodes like EPDG for Wi-Fi calling, untrusted Wi-Fi access in 4G, as well as there is a SAMOG which provides the trusted access. Similarly, going forward in 5G, you have N3IWF and TWIF and TWGF, which will, enable trusted and untrusted, access. But now the question is, uh, the issue what we face with the legacy network today in Wi-Fi. While doing the offload, we are going to face the similar issue, because to connect an end user device, do an offload with the 5G core, though there are N3 IWF and other modules defined, they expect the end device should also be 5G capable. Now, that particular issue will still remain because many of the devices what we have may not be 5G capable, right? They may support 4G and 5G, 4G, and there is an NSA through which end user can still connect, but they may not support the NAS functionality. So what we will do about these devices? So that is where now again innovation is needed, that how to connect these legacy end devices without supporting 5G NAS on the 5G network for the offload. So that is something to look into it, and I'm sure that there are standards which are being discussed at 3GPP, and also WB has done lots of work. White paper has been released where they specifically talked about moving some of the NAS functionality from the UE to the access point to take care of this. So yeah, so these are standard landscape towards offload, MAC randomization, and user onboarding. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sandeep. You have really given great inputs to all of us, great learning for me also. So now let me throw a surprise actually. First time in my role, they have given the order actually to the chairman that you should ask a question to yourself. First time I'm finding this. I admit this. So I don't want to pass it over actually, but we will have still time for question answer also. But before that, I want to capture this opportunity for you to speak. Actually, let me be very frank. Why they made me chairman? Because they were fearing that I will steal the show, I will speak too much. So they made me chairman, but they made the mistake of giving me the opportunity to question myself. So I want to use that actually. The question to me is, as you are passionately working in rural broadband, how BharatNet can be used along with Wi-Fi for the same by ISPs for proliferation of affordable broadband in rural areas? Yeah, very interesting question, close to my heart. But before I go to answer this, I like to, and this is a World Wi-Fi Day, and here we are talking of Wi-Fi and PM Wani. So I will like to just name two persons actually who have been the game changer, I will like to call them. And one of them is sitting in front of my Madam Arunaji. Actually, we will like to call him the mother of Wi-Fi liberalization or delicensing, because I have seen that the 5 gigahertz delicensing, it looked as if it has happened very painlessly, just happened like that. But the type of work had to be done by the government in that when Madam was at the helm of affair, and I happened to be interacting with her that time, and it was about 8-9 years back. So that is what, that showed that how Wi-Fi can help in everything. And when we will coming to BharatNet, actually as far as usage of BharatNet is concerned, it cannot happen without Wi-Fi. Actually, as you know, 80% of the data has to touch Wi-Fi. So everything, not only BharatNet, everything had to touch Wi-Fi. So that means these are made for each other. And same, reverse of that is also true. The Wi-Fi actually cannot work unless you have a backhaul through BharatNet. Why I'm calling BharatNet backhaul? Because it is supposed to come free of cost actually. In its original plan of the government, thinking of the government, BharatNet, which was called NOFN, it was to be made as a public good. Public good means free of cost actually. And it was a neutral host. All those things have gone out of the box actually. It has a cost, but cost is still less than the normal backhaul which Wi-Fi need. So at least it is less than that. So that is where I will call BharatNet and Wi-Fi made for each other. No Wi-Fi will happen in rural if BharatNet is not there. No BharatNet will be useful in rural if Wi-Fi is not there. We call it last few meters. Though BharatNet was supposed to be last mile, but it has remained or stopped at middle mile. It has not gone beyond middle mile as far as Bharat is concerned, as far rural is concerned. No FTTH in rural. So it has stopped. So in between, so that means last mile job is not done by BharatNet. Who does the last mile job in rural? It is Wi-Fi. So both are so much, and I'll tell about that. But the other person I would like to want to mention about the influencer on game changer of PM Money. I think you know it all, Dr. R.S. Sharma, the ex-chairman of TRA. So these two persons I wanted to name today because we cannot forget them whenever we talk about Wi-Fi and PM Money. So now this question given to me, and I have already almost answered. Actually, because it is not that I'm passionate about that. Actually, it is my roji roti. It is my business I am doing. And I can speak from the horse's mouth that how these things are playing there. And I'm already using Wi-Fi also. But till few years back, and even today, I'm unable to use BharatNet. Why? It is not that it is not there, because I'm working in rural only. It is there, but unfortunately, it is not delivering what you call a SLA. Because whenever you talk of middle mile or long distance, what is called backhaul or backbone, you cannot treat them same as a access. You have to have a SLA. And do you know what is the minimum SLA required for a backhaul or a middle mile? It is called 5 nines. 5 9 stands for 99.999. And do you know, because I not like to make a public statement, what is the uptime of BharatNet in rural? How many nines? I can tell you it is less than 1 9. So it is not even a single 9 actually. Yeah. Single 9, I meant 90% actually. So it is not that single 9 also. It is less than that. So that is the problem. Why BharatNet is not used actually. Whenever they measure, actually this is surprising. I think because it is Wi-Fi and they have asked you have asked me the question in my personal capacity, I like to answer. Whenever they measure the statistics, like BharatNet, every day they will say so much petabytes of data is flowing. So, but nobody have ever asked them, nobody have told, not even regulator, not even minister is asking how much revenue BharatNet backhaul is generating. There is no mention of that, no ask of that, no reporting of that. And that means it is not there. That is what I will assume. If nobody is reporting or nobody is asking, so that means it is not there. That is what is my feeling of this. So that is where there is some missing thing, but still nothing is lost actually. As Mr. Vivek Dua was there, he would have mentioned, a lot of things are there. If you want to make a success of BharatNet in rural and Wi-Fi in rural and PM Money in rural, some things have to be done. One is very simple, that uptime or SLA of BharatNet. That is a minimum requirement, but that is not out of box. It is a natural requirement of any backhaul that it should be working there. If backhaul itself is not working, then what access will do? What your Wi-Fi will do? So that is there. But more than that, a lot of things have to be done. Now, the regulator in its own wisdom, last week only, they issued a tariff order. Even that also was opposed by industry, because the industry job is that, oppose anything progressive someone is doing. But according to me, even that was not enough. They told, okay, the backhaul for PM Money PDO can be double than the retail price. That is a totally wrong, you can say, order by the regulator, though even that is being opposed. So because these PDO are your reseller of ISPs, this, a reseller wholesale price can never be more than the retail price. It will never work. How you are telling you can charge double? Actually, there is a concept of vertical price squeeze. Actually, if you charge from your wholesaler more than the retail price, you commit a crime called vertical price squeeze. That is a regulatory term. That means your access provider or your retail seller will not be able to sell, because price you pay to your provider is more than the retail. So he has to charge more than the retail. So it cannot happen, vertical price squeeze. So what is done normally? All over the world, the regulator. And this is where the regulator cannot blame the government. Actually, it is the regulator mandate, regulator power. So he should have gone for what is called wholesale minus, retail minus price. Wholesale price is called retail minus price. It has to be minus or less than retail. And what is that minus? Minus is whatever is the avoided cost. Because when I'm a provider, I'm selling something. So in selling, there is a marketing cost. There is a cost where I have to pay commission. Sometimes bad debt is there. Sometimes payment does not come. So these are the cost of retail selling. And those costs can be quantified. According to me, it is between 20 to 30%. So at least a wholesale price has to be retail minus these avoided costs. That is called retail minus price. So regulator have missed the opportunity to do that. And that is why the PM money is not succeeding. That is just one reason, which could have been avoided. Full power to regulator. He can do whatever he wants to do. And he just issue the regulation and then go to government that I have done this. Now you do something. This, your own job you have not done properly. I mean, you have missed the opportunity. The other thing which I'm exploiting as a businessman or as a startup or as an entrepreneur is, you have to make use of CSR. Actually, what happens is, normally whenever there is a market failure, whenever we talk about the rural broadband or anything in rural, there is no business case. If there is no business case, that is called market failure. That means it is not economical to do business there in that segment. So whenever there is a market failure, who has to save? It is the government have to save. Whenever there is a market failure, government or regulator have to save. So here what government, regulator have done their own job, though it is not enough. In fact, it is counterproductive according to me, but at least it is not enough. Government have also done what they do, they give subsidy. So they are giving subsidy to the BharatNet. Of course, USO fund, madam, is already there. A lot of subsidies are there. But even that subsidy is not enough. Neither the USO fund subsidy is enough because it is only in the middle mile and beyond. It is not in the access. The second is regulator have tried to do something, have not helped. So then who have to help? And that is where I call a third party kind of player have to come. A third party of player here will be the civil society. Civil society, I mean CSR, I'm making use of that. And there are government thing, 2% of profit of any company, whether government or private, have to be given for CSR. And some of the PSU with whom I'm dealing have hundreds of crores of money which they have to give to CSR. And there are list of the projects where CSR can be given. There are SDG goal. Unfortunately, the word Wi-Fi is not mentioned there. Actually, last year also on a similar platform I have told. And that time secretary made a note. He told, yes, you have a point. I made a note, but nothing happened. So the DOT or USO fund administrator or someone has to get this Wi-Fi, not the broadband access, this Wi-Fi word. If it can come in that list of those 17 items, that Wi-Fi projects will also be eligible for CSR. Then the gap is managed. Gap is managed. Then, so you had market failure, you went to government, government did whatever they could do, regulator did whatever, still did not happen. Then civil society. That is called self-help actually. You as user, you as public have to help. So, but wherever you have to spend the 2% money, of course, you spend it for good reasons, women empowerment, women hygiene, the job creation, there are so many things, health. So, same thing you can give to this. So, when I go, of course, I advocate to them and they understand, but their auditor says, Sir, for Wi-Fi, you cannot give this money. Though Wi-Fi I'm using to create jobs also there, to solve a problem there, connectivity. There was no connectivity. If I put a hotspot in village, connectivity goes, that can also be given CSR fund. But it is not written black and white, for Wi-Fi you can be given CSR fund. So if somehow we can get that, and I think we as BIF should do this, go to government, get a letter written to whosoever ministry is defining. I think it is finance ministry ultimately, or the other ministry, who defines what are the projects where CSR funding can be given. So then I think you can solve. So that is what I wanted to bring from my side. But I think time is over, but still, Devu, 5 minutes can we give for the questions if any of them have? Though I've just stopped at the clock. Yes, yes, please. Yeah, permitting, Devu has to permit. Okay, yes, please go ahead. Please ask questions from experts, like we have so many of them.
Thank you. Sir, I have two questions, one on Wi-Fi technology and other on Wi-Fi security. So my first question, what type of challenges and opportunities on Wi-Fi technology to shape the societal norms by minimizing ecological damages? And on security, how can I restrict access of others to my Wi-Fi network, and how can I check if my Wi-Fi is hacked?
I think security you can answer.
Okay,
Alok.
yeah. I'll take the second question, which is the security. So, you see, there are two things. One is technology, and the second thing is cyber hygiene, or what we call human part of the thing. So when we want to secure any network or any access technology, then of course we are putting passwords there, right? So don't use simple passwords, because there are, of course, one of the panelists mentioned quantum is, PQC or post-quantum computing is anyway coming, and Q-day could be very close. It could be even less than a year. So what these, hackers would do, they would, break into your password and then harvest the data now, right? If they can. Or if they cannot, because of the high encryption levels which are already there, then they would just harvest it and keep it till the quantum is able to break it, right? So, so both the things are, so one is that your passwords have to be very strong. Second is you need to deploy what is called multi-factor authentication, which is that, some kind of an authentication which is second factor, like when we do a banking transaction, we get an OTP, and, we could have other factors of authentication as well. Then try and use, VPN, which is a encrypted tunnel, in order to kind of get more security into it. And as one of the speakers said earlier, you would deploy WPA3 enterprise, which is a very, very strong, encryption mechanism over there. Now, how do you find out whether your, Wi-Fi has been compromised or hacked or whatever? You need to really look out for if there is any frequent disconnections which are happening. If there are any, I would say, you would find latency, in the connections. For example, if it becomes suddenly very slow. So those are some of the signs where you would find that, the network is, compromised. So I think...
Yeah. Thank you, Alok. I think we should go to Mr. Seemab Kadri. If you can reply to the technological question of the audience.
Can you please repeat that question? I was not able to get it.
Yeah, please repeat the question.
Yeah.
Technology part.
Yeah, technological. What type of challenges and opportunities on Wi-Fi technology to shape up the societal norms by minimizing ecological damages?
So it's a very broad question. I think it's talking about what Wi-Fi technology is bringing in terms of its pros and cons. I mean, it is, as we are progressing as a society, we are looking at the new set of use cases coming up, especially when you think about India as a rising country. It has to be kind of at the tip of the spear of innovation. And Wi-Fi is the technology that kind of reaches out for the last meters for connectivity. Almost all of the data, like 80% plus on mobile and everything that you do, on a day-to-day basis from a connectivity viewpoint goes over Wi-Fi. Personally, I know that I interact with Wi-Fi more than I interact with my family if I take it cumulatively, and I think that is true for most people over here. So that's kind of the societal aspect to it, that there's a goodness that you're progressing and we're adopting this technology, but also it is changing the behavior. And as with any technology, there's good and bad about it, and we have to use it in the right manner. We have to do it in a ethical fashion. So everybody's scale is different, right? If you do it to your level of comfort. We are all technologists. I am a technologist. I love to immerse myself, but you have to also put some guardrails around what you can and should do with it. So yeah, I hope kind of that gives at least a personal insight to you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? I think there will be a more time as per
The
unless there is a
sorry.
typography error. There is more time. Yes.
Dr. Gupta, I would also want to kind of touch upon the third question that you had asked me, if we have time,
Yes.
on the AI and Wi-Fi
Yes, please
topic.
go ahead, because it will be
Right.
good
So
learning for us all, actually.
yes, because in WBA, in my role, I'm primarily kind of looking at a project that we are running over there, and I'd love to share that with the audience over here and kind of hopefully solicit participation even from this forum. But in essence, we know that AI and Wi-Fi are great technologies, and they're becoming more and more interdependent with each other. So you can think of almost like AI as the brains and the Wi-Fi as the nervous system, and they come together to create like an intelligent infrastructure. So with kind of that analogy, both help each other a lot, or like have a lot of potential to help each other. AI can help the Wi-Fi networks, think diagnostics, think self-healing, think usage pattern learning, predicting congestion. So the list can go on and on. But also, Wi-Fi can help AI applications a lot, especially as all the different AI applications are coming up. For Wi-Fi to understand an AI traffic, just the way, as an example, it understands video traffic today, but to understand it to more depth on what is the specific characteristics for latency and determinism that inference traffic needs to take. If Wi-Fi can understand that, then it can shape a quality of service for that traffic accordingly. And there's a lot of work that we need to do in that domain. And in WBA, we are exploring those. We are looking at both aspects to it. We are collaborating with members in the industry to understand where the investments and the use cases is going. We ourselves are looking at three specific use cases around AI ops, around the green efficiency, power saving and spectrum sharing, as well as around AI quality of service. We are looking to do proof of concepts with members. We are progressing on that front, but we'd also love to see more participation over there. So, if you guys are associated with WB or even through BIF, we'd love to kind of have an association on that front. So yeah, so this is a very interesting topic, and I think this is the right time for us to look at it, because anything kind of we study over here will work towards a recommendation for the longer term, and hopefully even can also help the definitions of Wi-Fi 8 and other technologies as they come up.
Thank you. Any other questions, please? So it seems there are no questions, but in that case, I actually have to mention one, and that may be treated as a concluding remarks also. Actually, I'm working on a project called DIGI, like the technology called blockchain, distributed ledger technology, which have a applications called DeFi, decentralized finance. Actually, everything is happening on that direction. Then I thought, and especially it is related to PM money. Actually, I was doing a lot of research that why PM money has not taken off. It has named PM. It is so much liberalized, actually. In India, you cannot get such a licensing regime, liberalized, decentralized, deregulated, disaggregated, no GST, no license fees, no AGR. and still it is not picking up. And we are very much concerned, we as BIF actually, because we have been dealing with the government through the regulator, and now Mr. Sandeep is there actually. I myself personally, as my company, when they started working on this, actually, when Dr. R.S. Sharma was the chairman, Sandeep was working from C. side as a architect, actually, technological architect, actually, and Mr. Sharma, the Dr. R.S. Sharma, actually, he coined a term before it became Wani and then PM Wani, and that was about 10 years back, and I happened to be with him. It was in Banaras, those Banaras Ghats are there, and he wanted to do some payment, some UPI, and it was not working. So he asked me, "Asan, UPI नहीं चल रहा है भाई, क्या है?" मैंने कहा, "सर, यहाँ तो होगा नहीं, कहीं और जाते हैं, दुकान पे जाते हैं, ये करते हैं." कहते, "बट UPI नहीं चल रहा है, क्या हो सकता है?" फिर पता लगा कि वहाँ वाईफाई नहीं था। तो कहते, "यार, ये तो सारा गड़बड़ है, फिर वाईफाई इज नॉट देयर." देन वी टोल्ड हिम कि ये प्रॉब्लम है। कहते, "आई वांट, though I was not in regulator, I was outside, but we happened to be there." He told SN, "I want Wi-Fi to become UPI of broadband access." जैसे पैसे का UPI होता है, किसी को broadband चाहिए, just Wi-Fi, and it should become. And then he coined this Wani and all that. Sandeep was also involved, all full industry was involved, POC was done. That was his vision. His vision was कि Wi-Fi should become ubiquitous, it should become painless, that plug and play, like what Sandeep was asked also, and he has replied. उनका पर्पज ये था ऑटो रोमिंग, ओपन रोमिंग, जस्ट प्लग एंड प्ले, कि कुछ ये बार बार ऑथेंटिकेशन नहीं करना, कुछ नहीं करना, और यूबिक्विटस हो जाए. तो दैट वाज द ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ पीएम वानी एक्चुअली, एंड द ऑब्जेक्टिव वाज फॉर रूरल. एक्चुअली अर्बन में है. अभी क्या है कि द पीएम वानी एक्चुअली एज पर we as BIF also, and you see these, we have just touched about 3 lakhs. The target of NDCP was 2 million would have happened by 2024, 2 million 20 lakhs, and we are only 3 lakhs. And everyone is trying. Nobody is opposing PM Wani, but still it is not happening. So what we will call it actually? So it's again a combination of market failure, and according to me, government failure also. They have done whatever. So then you have to find some out-of-box thing, and that is where the CSR thing came. But I wanted to bring actually why, though Sandeep have explained all that, and that is my personal comment now on why PM Wani is not succeeding. Actually, government, when they did everything, deregulate, unlicense, disaggregate, nothing to be charged, but they put what is called, and this is my personal comment, it is not BIF comment, they put there will be a central registry, and which will be owned by government, managed by government. And I questioned, I told, sir, ये central registry किस लिए चाहिए? आपने सब कुछ तो de-license कर दिया, unregulated कर दिया. They told, we have to collect the statistic, we have to measure the success of this project. So कहीं ना कहीं तो रजिस्ट्री होनी चाहिए ना, कहीं ना कहीं होना चाहिए कितने लग गए, कितना यूज हो रहा है. So I told, I asked them, that is the only purpose. They told, yes, that is the only purpose. No money will be charged, nothing will be done. And according to me, that centralization have become one of the bottleneck. I don't know whether if I remove that or if you remove that, that will solve the problem. But there is a solution. And the solution, I've coined the term called DY, like D5 there, DY. DY, I mean decentralized Wi-Fi. Something was talked about open roaming and all that, and this Passpoint 2.0, WBA standard, all are there in that direction. Decentralized Wi-Fi, according to means that registry you have, but don't call it a centralized registry, call it a decentralized registry. What is the meaning of decentralized registry? That means there will not be a one agency controlling it. It will be owned by the user themselves. It will be self-automating, self-registering, self-measuring, and self-giving you a print. And that is what blockchain does actually. Distributed ledger technology does exactly same thing. If you put all your Wi-Fi PDOs, access point, your mobile phone connection on a database or a ledger, I call it a distributed data ledger platform, put in on that, and there can be protocol. So in that case, all the statistic comes, all the security can be taken care of, all the accounting can be taken care of, and all the settlement can be taken over. In our blockchain, it is called tokenization. The tokenization is used by finance, banks, everywhere. But it is not used for real world. It is used for artificial thing, the imaginary thing like arts and music and all that. It is used. Money getting tokenized already. Your arts are getting tokenized. That is called NFT. But real world assets can also be tokenized. And that is what Wi-Fi is, a fit case of RWA tokenization. That is what my concept of DIGI makes use of. And there is an example of it. Yesterday only I found there is an example of it in India. Have you heard about Wi-Fi Dabba? Yes. Yeah, Mr. Sharma. What is his first name? Sharma, son? Subhendu Sharma. In India. But he is so afraid कि गवर्नमेंट को पता लग गया तो बंद करा देंगे, तो उन्होंने बाहर से ऑपरेट करता है. ऑपरेट इंडिया में हो रहा है, बैंगलोर में हो रहा है. He is making use of PM money, all the facilities what government have given, but still he is not sure कि whether it is regulated or not, whether someone will catch me or someone will stop me from doing business. So that is. So if the DIGI concept comes, which Wi-Fi Dabba is just a pilot project he's doing. In other countries I have studied, there is a project called Helium. I think Devu, you will know Helium. Helium is doing exactly same thing, actually. So it will have open roaming, it will have everything. Or if you want statistic, it will give you real-time statistic just from the platform. You don't need an agency for that. You don't need an authority for that. So if somehow we can all agree to that and finally government agree. So I was told, actually, I can share the fact, they told, साहब आपका आइडिया बहुत सही है, बट हम सी डॉट से लड़ाई नहीं करना चाहते. मैंने कहा मैं भी सी डॉट से, आई एम ए फॉलोअर ऑफ सी डॉट. हम सी डॉट को ही कहेंगे भाई रजिस्ट्री आपके नाम से ही रहेगी, बट ये डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड हो जाएगी, ऑटोमेटेड हो जाएगी, नाम आपका ही रहेगा. आई गेव दैट सजेशन टू DOT कि वाई यू आर अफ्रेड विद, दे वांट, ठीक है भाई उनको आपने नाम दे दिया सी डॉट रजिस्ट्री है, लेट इट रिमेन सी डॉट रजिस्ट्री. ओनली यूज द टेक्नोलॉजी इंस्टेड ऑफ सेंट्रलाइजेशन, you do decentralization. Everything else remains. Only thing is it becomes automated. Decentralized will make it automated because in decentralization, the real meaning itself is there cannot be a common or a central controller. It has to be distributed control, distributed ownership, decentralization, governance, and automation. And that is what technology permits. Like we are talking of AI. AI fits there. Actually, 90% of the job of DIGI will be done by AI, actually, as I told. Everything you can get it done. Wherever you are stuck, use AI. It will be done. So that is what, with that, I like to stop now. And thank you very much for the opportunity given to me.
Thank you once again, sir, for that wonderful session we had from you. And I would now like to invite on stage Brigadier Anil Tandon, Director General Broadband India Forum, to first present mementos as a token of gratitude and appreciation to Dr. S.N. Gupta, Chairman, DIGI GAON Foundation. Thank you, sir, for such valuable insights we had from you during this session. And to Mr. Alok Gupta, founder and CEO, Pyramid Forensics and Cybersecurity. Thank you, sir. And can we have a group photograph before we have the vote of thanks by Brigadier Anil Tandon? Yes. Mr. Debashish. Ma'am Aruna Sundararajan also to join us for the group photograph. And ladies and gentlemen, of course, we will be thanking them in the end, but can we also have a round of applause for Broadband India Forum for this wonderful initiative of celebrating the World Wi-Fi Day? Thank you. And now over to Brigadier Anil Tandon to close the proceedings of today's celebrations with proposing a vote of thanks. Over to you.
As we come to the end of today's day-long event on celebrating the World Wi-Fi Day with the theme Wi-Fi Transforming for India, Innovating for the World, it's my privilege and honor to deliver the vote of thanks. I think it's been a very, very exciting day. The vast amount of knowledge shared and really the enthusiasm of all the speakers continuing till the last session and the last closing address by our SNG. They spoke about the need of Wi-Fi, and I think particularly the public Wi-Fi seemed to be the real thread going right from the inaugural session right till the end. So I think it's been a great thing for putting ahead. I'm not just talking of PM Vani, but the public Wi-Fi per se, and how it can bridge the digital divide and bring about inclusivity. In my formal thanks, I would first like the opportunity to thank our chief guest, Honorable Minister of Communications, Mr. Scindia ji, who took valuable time out, and I think already he has been thanked by TV Ramachandran at the end of the inaugural session. But what an inspiring and what a really an inspiring and a forceful speech that we got from him, and we really got from him a support to say that the D-licensed 6 gigahertz would be notified on or before the 15th of August, which is a great event or a great day that we look forward to. I would also like to thank Dr. R.S. Sharma, the former chairman TRAI and CEO NHA, his inspiring talk both on Aadhaar-based digital public and the role of PM Vani, both in the inaugural and subsequently in the additional session that he was chairing. He spoke so vehemently and so strongly for the PM Vani. Thanks also to Shri Osaman Manzar, CEO and co-founder Digital Empowerment Foundation, for sharing his thoughts and the work done at the grassroots level towards digital inclusivity. I'd also like to thank Dorothy Stanley, past chair of the IEEE. She tried all her best to come to India, but then there has been some flight disruptions, because of which at the last moment she dropped out, but she was online. Along with that, there was Mr. Alan Norman from Meta, who was supposed to again come and be in the knowledge session, but unfortunately, the flight that he was taking, I think the same flight from which Dorothy stepped out, didn't take the flight, but he continued and he's right now on the flight. So the flight got delayed, because of which he's not here. But I'd like to mention thanks to Hiral Modi, who head connectivity Meta, who was there for in place of Alan Norman. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank each and every session chair. Kishore Bhaktani Saab, DDG DS, Madam Revati, Mr. Steve of WBA, and Dr. S.N. Gupta. And I must thank Steve for having flown in all the way from UK to be with us and being a partner in this event. And obviously, I would also need to thank all the speakers and all the panelists who participated and gave their inputs, valuable technical knowledge. I think it has been a very high standard of technical sessions that we've had. There would be a lot of takeaways from this event today. We will be making the takeaways from this and be sharing with the relevant people as we go along. I'd also like to thank DOT, METI, that is the Ministry of Information Technology, and the CDOT for the logo support, as well as the WBA and Wi-Fi Alliance, the two global bodies responsible for promotion of Wi-Fi globally. I'd also like to thank our sponsors, Platinum sponsor, Dynamic Spectrum Alliance, Gold sponsor, Meta, Qualcomm, Sabex, HPE, and our Silver sponsor, Amazon. And I would be failing in my duty if I did not place on record my exceptional thanks to our event partner, Bharat Exhibitions, and our media partner, Communications Today, for their contributions in making this event a great success. And last not the least, the directorate, the BIF directorate team who supported in making this event a big success. And my special thanks to the chairperson, Madam Aruna Sundarajan, for having stayed on right from the morning till the end of the session. Thank you very much, ma'am. With this, I bring the event to a close. Thank you once again, and I think I forgot one. The biggest thanks has to go to this audience who's there, who's still here. We had a big audience, but I must give a big thank you and a round of applause for all the audience for having continued. Thank you for making it. Look forward for our next event.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, seconding sir's thoughts, we convey our gratitude, appreciation, and thanks to each one of you for having stayed back till the end. Please join us for a cup of tea served outside before you leave the venue. Thank you once again. Had a wonderful day with all of you. Have a great evening, safe drive home, good evening, and namaskar.